All right, so this was news from a couple days ago, and I'm actually quite pissed off at this. I'm not too happy. The rumor is that Ubisoft has disbanded the development team from Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And why am I upset about this? Because if you look at all the mistakes that Ubisoft has done recently, all the crap, all the garbage, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was one of the only good things that they had in recent times. If you look at the Metacritic score, it's nice. It's above an 85. It was well received, and for whatever reason, this game just didn't sell enough copies, which is sad. And it's sad to see that this team that actually made a great game had to be disbanded, and they're being dispersed across all the other Ubisoft projects. So they're going to go to the Ubislop. And this pissed me off a little bit because, again, Prince of Persia, I played it on stream. I've also reviewed it. I thought it was a great game when it came out. And it's kind of underrated. I think it's one of those games we're going to look back on and be like, you know what? Ubisoft did good on this one. But now, no sequel, nothing, because the development team is disbanded. So continuing on, this is a new rumor from the French YouTube channel called ORIGAMI, whose host detailed that at the Ubisoft Montpellier office, employees were seen transporting boxes of supplies from one floor to another. He notes the reason this was being done is because Ubisoft disbanded the Prince of Persia dev team. Using YouTube's translate function, the Origami host states that in recent days at Ubisoft Montpellier, we are transporting boxes from one floor to another, and it is quite a symbol because it is that of dissolution, not announced to the public but completed of the team Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. So this is nothing that's been officially announced as of this moment. And again, it's sad to see because these people aren't losing their jobs. They're not fired, but they basically were told to go elsewhere within the company. You know, the same company that wasted millions of dollars on Skull and Bones, calling it a quadruple A title. The same company that barely sold a million fucking copies of a Star Wars game, guys. A Star Wars game, which is arguably still a dead franchise. A company that has Assassin's Creed Shadows pushed to February because of a Yazuke narrative that just caused so much backlash that they're not confident in revealing the game in the next month. We also had issues with the stock being a decade all-time low. So it's sad to see that Prince of Persia got lost in all that Ubisoft nonsense. You know, it was a great game in my opinion, a nice little Metroidvania, a game that felt old school. It had a good challenge to it, and it was made by a solid dev team that had a good Metacritic score. I mean, think of all the great games that have come out on Ubisoft throughout the years, and then in recent times they've been struggling. I think before Prince of Persia, the last one that I liked was Far Cry 6. So, yeah, now they're no more. Now, going on, the host went on to share that the decision to disband the team was made shortly after the game released at the beginning of the year. It released on January 18th, 2024 to Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. So that was way after it already came out on the actual consoles, right? And it wasn't it didn't even come at Steam. It didn't come out on Steam at the same time. I think the last gen came out later too. I think it was new gen or next gen first, and then the previous gen, and then Steam came out like 7 months later, which is way too fucking late. By then, nobody gave a crap about this game. Now, he did say it was clear in the spring, in fact, a few patches of DLC, and we were packing up. So these people knew they were moving along. Now, this did say, while Ubisoft management had made the decision to move on from the game shortly after it was released, the host claimed that some members of the core dev team fought for two DLCs in an attempt to change the minds of management. I think they could have did good with some DLCs, especially because the game was solid in itself. But you know how management works. They don't listen to people. They don't even care what the fans want. Now, it says Ubisoft management were unconvinced, especially given the game sales were below expectations. Instead, they wanted to reallocate the team to more potentially lucrative projects. Furthermore, the team was told that if they were to release a sequel, it could cannibalize long-time sales of the first game. That doesn't make sense to me, man. I think a sequel would have been, at least another year or two for the scope that Prince of Persia was. They could have built up some good DLC or expansions or updates to it. I mean, they're going balls out for Star Wars Outlaws, and they probably wasted millions of dollars on that. I think if they would have pushed Prince of Persia a little bit more, it wasn't that big of a budget. There's no way this was big of a budget as Star Wars Outlaws was. And I think they could have at least tried to market it better. I don't remember any marketing for this game. I don't remember any promotion for it anywhere. It was weird. It was like they just kind of released it silently. Now, this says Ubisoft did publicly announce reallocation of resources within its company back in May, where it revealed it was scrapping development of the division Heartland at Red Storm Entertainment and reallocating resources to bigger opportunities such as XDefiant and Rainbow Six. Furthermore, the company announced that its strategic focus was to regain leadership in open world adventures and expand footprint as games of service native experiences by leveraging ongoing efforts on proprietary cutting edge technologies as a differentiating factor. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown clearly does not fit in any of those categories as it's a 2D platformer. So it's just basically a game that they feel that they don't want to support. They don't want to support this type of genre, right? For whatever reason, even though it was well received. I think they just could have pushed it more. And again, this is just business at the end of the day. They're going to do what they want, but remember, this company's in trouble. Like, they're literally having investors demand that they sell or go private. The stock is at an all-time low. They might be sold to Tencent. They can't afford any more fuck-ups after they had Avatar fail, Skull and Bones fail, Prince of Persia fail, Star Wars fail. If Assassin's Creed fails, I think they're done. Going on, this says, regarding the game sales, the idea that they are soft is not surprising. The game recently released on Steam at the beginning of August and only hit a peak concurrent player count of 1,446. In the past 24 hours, the game only hit a peak concurrent player count of just 123. Sales estimates also indicate that the game sold at most 54,000 units and at minimum just 40,600 units. To put that in perspective, Play Tracker estimated that Concord sold 20,800 units, while VG Insights estimated it only sold 25,700. So this did worse than Concord, which had a failed fucking launch. That's not good. These are numbers that are abysmal, and companies don't like to lose money. No matter what you believe, even though a lot of these companies are going the way of DEI, they don't like to lose money. Now, they'll all day they'll try to do a sequel for a woke game, right? All day they'll try to do a sequel for a woke game, but a game that has no wokeness, no DEI in it, like Prince of Persia, they won't do it. They won't go out of their way, even though it was well received. Instead of actually trying to make people flock to a game, they didn't release it on Steam as the same day as console. They didn't fucking want to put DLCs. They didn't want to market it. To them, this was pretty much a throwaway game. It was weird that they really felt like they didn't give two shits about this game, in my opinion. Now, continuing on, it says, furthermore, given the game released to Steam in August, it's likely Ubisoft was factoring at least a decent bump in sales for its second quarter alongside Star Wars Outlaws. However, in a press release at the end of September, Ubisoft announced that it was significantly cutting back its expectations for the second quarter from $500 million to between $350 to $370 million, a decrease of 30%. It's also noted that it was lowering its yearly expectation to around $1.95 billion and around break-even non-IFRS operating income and free cash flow. The company explained the revised targets are mainly a reflection of decisions taken for Assassin's Creed Shadows and the softer than expected launch for Star Wars Outlaws. So they were banking on Outlaws and Shadows to propel them, and it failed. And of course, there's collateral damage, and smaller things like Prince of Persia and everything else are going to suffer from it. Abso-fucking-lutely. So, even though, and this does say, even though the CEO did not mention Prince of Persia, it's quite possible, based on the player counts we're seeing, that the game did not meet the sales expectations. I mean, look at how sales were lower than expected for Star Wars Outlaws, and they promoted the fuck out of that game. That was literally like on wrestling commercials. That was promoted at AEW, I believe. That was promoted like on every freaking website I could think of and seen. Like, they spent a marketing budget to promote Outlaws. I don't recall shit for Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Again, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you're a retro gamer like myself, if you grew up playing old school games, if you played Prince of Persia in the past, it's a game that has a nostalgia value to it, and it's a game that feels like something that's different than what Ubisoft has been bringing out. Ubisoft, again, the open world genre is kind of like their, I guess, main thing with Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and all that. But let's be honest, their games have kind of been kind of half-assed, kind of flowing, like the easy formula. To see something different like Prince of Persia come out and actually be interesting and good, like, I was thoroughly entertained by it. It had a good challenge on it, and it was a basic game. It wasn't some overly budgeted open world game with high-res graphics and cutscenes and all this bull crap. It's a shame that it didn't do well, and it's a shame that a company like Ubisoft isn't giving it a shot. So, Unfortunately, they're going elsewhere. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And hit that subscription button, guys. We're almost to 93,000 subscribers. I'd love for you guys to join the AB Nation. Thank you so much for watching. I'll check you on the next one.